Welcome to You Know Something with Dena
Hey, look, I'm just here to entertain, inform, and keep this crazy train on track.
and Tia.
Me, unlike your live wire that is liable to go shoo-boom.
They're like your cool aunts.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Fun,
I can't believe you even brought that up. That is so fun.
informative,
It's impossible to dust potpourris.
You can't.
sometimes serious.
Dena, sweet child. I am almost stunned. I mean, I'm being really serious.
But most of the time, not so much.
A caca. I mean, you're caca and you're caca. No. I'm sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Ladies, let's go.
Hello, welcome to You Know Something with Dena and Tia. I am Dena.
And I am Tia, and I just jumped out of my skin when you said that.
I'm in a good mood today, can you tell?
Oh, good. I am grateful for that.
Yeah, it's bright and early, the sun's shining. You know, why not be in a good mood?
Why not?
All right, Tia, today we're going to be talking about a subject you don't know about. First-time listeners, I always surprise Tia with the subject. Not always, but usually. And today is one of those days. Sometimes she comes up with a topic. Sometimes it's a topic that we repeat, a theme that we repeat, so she does know about it. But today it's a total surprise. I have no idea how she's going to react. If you could see her, sometimes she looks excited. Sometimes she looks like, are you kidding me? Sometimes she's like, I'm leaving the room because I'm not interested. But we'll see what happens today.
This is a fact.
All right, Tia.
Yes?
Today,
Uh-huh.
we are going to be talking about twins.
Twins.
Twins, as in human babies that look alike.
Okay.
God's little clones.
And let's see. Neither one of us are twins.
Correct.
Okay. So, I mean, we should be...
We're going to learn together.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, I do want to ask you first, do you have any experience with twins? Any in your family? Any friends at school? Any kind of anecdotes or any experiences you've ever had with twins that we could talk about first? Are you afraid of twins?
I had an acquaintance that has twins, but that's about it.
So you didn't have any in your class in school? Mm-mm. We had one set of twins that were boys, and I think they were probably considered identical. We'll get into what makes it truly identical or fraternal. They would be considered identical, but because I knew them since I was like 6, I could tell a difference.
Right.
You know, I think when you're in the family with the twins, you know. But if they're just, like you said, acquaintances, were they identical, the twins that you knew?
You know, I don't remember if they were identical or,
Fraternal.
yeah, I'm sorry. That's been years ago.
Yeah, were they male or female?
Male.
Okay. All right. So identical twins are also, and there's a lot of big, scary words in this discussion, so you'll have to help me, Tia, and forgive me, guys, listening, if I say I'm wrong.
You're asking me to help you with big words. Okay, this should be fun. Okay, this might be our most humorous episode ever.
Unintentionally humorous.
I'm hooked on phonics today.
If worse comes to worse, we'll go to the little pronunciation thing to say it for us. Identical twins are also known as monozygotic.
Okay.
Does that sound right to you?
Wow, does it?
They occur, and parents, you know, we like to do shows that if kids are in the car, it's okay, but we will be talking about making babies. We'll be doing it in a medical terminology way, but you might, you know, maybe your kids have never talked about that with you, so it's up to you to decide what you think. Okay. So, identical twins occur when a single fertilized egg, so picture the little egg floating around, already been fertilized by the sperm,
Mm-hmm.
it splits in two.
Right.
While it's still just the small collection of cells that hasn't formed
Right.
yet. The two halves then develop into two babies with the same genetic information and the same DNA sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this, the identical twins are almost always the same sex, either two boys or two girls. Not
Oh.
always, but almost always. We'll get
Okay.
into how
Almost always. Okay.
fraternal twins, also known as dizygotic twins.
Wow.
So mono would be one, so that was one form, right? I guess that's where that comes from. And di would be two.
Right.
Okay. Dizygotic twins are the result of two separate eggs floating around, and then two sperm come in.
Yeah. And I'm loving your hand motions when you're doing this. What, are you just making them swim in the air?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
thank
good
you.
for a audio podcast.
Yes, exactly.
So think about the odds of two little sperm swimming, hitting two little eggs in just the right way, in the same. Well, not necessarily. That's something we'll get into too. It doesn't have to be in the same. Oh, here's where the words get tricky. The same incident of sperm meets egg.
Okay.
Okay? But we'll get into that. Okay, so two separate eggs being fertilized by two different sperm during the same pregnancy. Because they come from different eggs and sperm, fraternal twins are no more similar than your sister or your brother or my sister. Oh, you don't have a brother. Your
Nor
sister.
do you.
Exactly. What am I saying? Your sister or my sister. You're just siblings. If they were born at different times, it doesn't make a difference. It's not, they're unidentical. But they do share around half of their genomes, which I guess we do too with our sisters. They can be the same or different sexes, and they usually develop in separate amniotic sacs and placentas. So they're just like totally in their own little worlds, floating around in their mama's uterus. They might bump into each other.
On little sacks.
In little sacks.
Yes.
Yes. It can be difficult to tell if twins are identical or fraternal at birth, but there are a few ways to determine the difference. You know, 'cause babies kind of all look alike, and they don't know if the egg split or if there were just two sperm egg contacts while it's in your body.
But they can't see that on an ultrasound?
Apparently not. You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, yes.
Maybe if they knew exactly when you had been impregnated, they could go in and look, but you don't know, usually for, what, a couple of months?
Well, I don't know. I think it's as soon as you tinkle on a stick.
Yeah, but what would cause you to tinkle on the stick? Because you miss your regular.
Right.
Aunt Flo didn't come to visit. All right.
Wow.
Okay. But there are different ways to determine once the babies are born, if somebody wants to know. A zygosity test can be performed after birth by collecting a cheek sample out of each baby with a little Q-tip. The test doesn't hurt, and it costs around $199 for both the twins. So I guess that's just something a parent would say, I want to know if they're identical or fraternal, rather than waiting to see if they look just alike, as they get older.
I just wait and be surprised.
Yeah, I think so too. Ultrasound images can also help determine if twins are identical or fraternal, just like you said. Examining the membranes at the time of delivery, examining the membranes can also determine if the twins are identical or fraternal. I guess that means in the sac, the membranes in the sac.
Mm-hmm.
What gender is the most common in fraternal twins, Tia? What do you think? Fraternal.
I've got a 50-50 shot at this, right?
Actually, what's 3? 33 and a third.
Oh.
Because you got two girls,
because-
2 boys, or a girl and a boy.
All right, then I'm just going to go with a girl and a boy.
You're correct.
Quit it.
You got one.
Yay!
Mixed twins are the most common type of fraternal twins. Some 50% are boy to girl. So then the other would be male or female. To understand this, males have XY chromosomes. Females have XX chromosomes. You have a girl twin when the father's X chromosome combines with the mother's X chromosome. There will not be a quiz afterwards, so don't fret.
Okay, I was breaking out in a sweat here.
All right. The rarest type of twins are monoamniotic, monochorionic twins. Okay?
Oh, that was really easy for you to say.
Really?
I'm glad
And I
you didn't even
practiced.
show it to me.
There it is.
Wow.
So that would be like the amniotic fluid, I guess. These types of twins share a chorion placenta and an amniotic sac. Okay, so they're in the placenta. They share the one placenta, and they're in the amniotic sac together. This is the rarest type of twin, and it means a riskier pregnancy as the babies can get tangled up in the umbilical cords. That's scary.
That is very scary.
Are fraternal twins 100% related? Oh, boom, boom. That sounds like a soap opera.
I know.
Identical twins have 100% of their genes, including those that influence the risk for like alcoholism or whatever, in common. Are fraternal twins 100% related? Here's what can happen to you. And here's where you might want to cover your children's ears.
Okay.
A woman is impregnated. The sperm goes into the egg.
Uh-huh.
But then someone else's sperm goes into the egg
Wow.
in a close proximity of time.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how far away it could be, but it would be within that same pregnancy. So that can happen. You can have two fathers and be carrying the babies at the same time. Just depends on how quickly that next sperm impregnated.
Do you have any percentage of that?
How often that happens? Let's look it up. So Tia's a very good question about how often does that happen that twins have two different fathers. If you think about it, it would have to come up as a possibility. And I would think that the mother probably wouldn't want to bring it up and say to,
No. No.
well, we got to check and see if they're related. But it could be obvious if their skin colors were very different.
Yes.
If it was two different races. It's called chimerism, and it's extremely rare. And I would think it's extremely rare because it doesn't happen that often, but also because you wouldn't like bring it to attention necessarily. Only about 100 cases have ever been recorded. Ever. For one baby to have two fathers, that would have to happen first as bipaternal twins, which is rare. It's when two eggs get fertilized by two different men's sperm and become fraternal twins. But it can happen, so it's just very fascinating to me.
That is extremely fascinating.
All right, we will move on from that subject. But I think I've seen it in a soap opera or a Lifetime movie. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Who carries the gene for twins? The gene for hyperovulation. Hyperovulation is a woman is more likely to have twins because she has a whole lot of eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, when the sperm are coming in and banging into a bunch of eggs, there's more likely they're going to get fertilized than if you just have a few eggs.
Right.
So, the gene can come from either side of the family, but the woman would need to have the gene in order for the couple to have twins based on genetics. It wouldn't be in the father's. So, okay, let me think about this. The daughter's dad had the gene
Right.
and passed it to her,
Right.
and then she had twins. Her husband could have the gene passed on from either his mother or father, but that would not affect her ovulation, obviously. Just because he had twins in his background is not going to make her ovulate more. So I've always wondered that. I thought,
Okay, well, I mean, my nephew, his wife is pregnant with twins.
is she?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 2 girls.
Okay. So you would have to know if her family history has to have.
You're right, because I don't know of any twins in my sister's husband's family.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, a man's history of twins is not going to affect his wife's ovulation.
Okay, so it has to be in hers, correct?
Right.
Okay.
But, sometimes they say twins skip generation. That's because he would give it to his daughter, and then his daughter would have to get pregnant
Okay.
That would affect her amount of eggs. So the father can pass that twin gene along to make his daughter have more eggs. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. I think we got it. I think I understand it.
I know. And thank you for explaining it.
We're doing good so far.
Yes, you are. You're doing extremely well.
Can a girl and boy be identical twins? That was something we talked about just a few minutes ago. Identical twins can be different sexes due to a phenomenon called gonadal dysgenesis. I just apologize to any medical students or doctors or just intelligent people that know about twin terminology, because I'm just guessing, folks. I'm just guessing. Due to that phenomenon that I mentioned previously, where mutations or changes occur in the genes that determine the development of genitalia. So the egg could split and be one sex, but then as the genitalia starts to form, it's a very uncommon thing, a phenomenon where one could develop into a boy and one could develop into a girl. And I'm trying to think if I've ever known of identical different sex twins, what that would look like. I mean, what would that would be interesting to see. I mean, would they just look exactly alike, except one would be feminine, one would be masculine? It's interesting to think about.
That's very weird to even think
No
about.
offense, but normally, I guess that comes from gonad. Again, parents, cover your kids' ears. Gonadal development usually leads to both babies being boys or being girls. That's the common thing. So Tia, from the article in everydayhealth.com, there's an article called 22 Wonderful and Wacky Facts About Twin. We won't do 22, but just the more interesting ones. Twins are multiplying. In fact, 1 in every 30 babies born in 2009 was a twin. 1 in 30. Compared to 1980, when the rate was 1 in every 53. So what would you think would be causing that?
Wow. People having whoopee more often.
I like the way you think. People are going to having babies later and using fertility drugs and implanting embryos.
There it is.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like more and more people, and this gets into, I guess, a moral issue that we won't have a discussion on, yikes, necessarily, unless you want to. People are waiting for their careers or making sure they find the right person. They're not in such a rush.
Right.
So I got to get a family, you know. I'll take this guy, but they're waiting. And vice versa with the guys. But then your eggs are not as active as you would think they might be.
And so then, therefore, you have to go to fertility doctors, which, you know, they ramp it up, you know, for egg production.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just
But they're
take
not be having
my
no whoopee.
answer out of there.
But it's still got to be
Just
doing
for
the
fun.
whoopee. I mean, it's still got to have whoopee. Okay. Now, whether or not you agree with manipulating all that, you know, is up to each person. But it is getting kind of crazy when you think about all the different ways families are created now.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a whole nother subject, but it's crazy what science can and does do. And if you can do it, should you? I don't know. Just because you can, should you? I don't know. Twins can be born years apart. Did you know that, Tia?
What?
Yeah. And that is because of what we were just talking about. They made multiple embryos, and they split, and then they only implanted one, and then decided a few years later.
Oh.
But can you imagine, again, Lifetime movie, you're rocking along, you're a little kid, you're the only child, you're 5 years old, and all of a sudden, Mommy's pregnant, and Mommy has a baby, and as the years go by, you're like, what?
That's me.
Wouldn't that be weird?
No, that would be totally weird.
I'm sorry, people. Do what you want to do, but that would freak me out.
That would freak me out.
They only did it 9 months later, this particular couple, and it was a sister. Wow. Okay.
Wow. I would be like, did I not already teach you to potty? Did I already not teach you how to brush your teeth?
Yeah. I mean, would it be
It'd
that...
be like Groundhog Day.
I wonder if it would, like, with that second baby... We'll talk about that too, but how nurture versus nature, would they learn to potty train the exact same time? Would they say the exact same first words? It would be strange.
Very.
Okay. Did you know, Tia, that twins have their own language?
Yes, I did.
Now, how did you know that?
Because I watched a documentary on it.
Ah!
And then there were twins that married twins.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of those shows. And it's just kind of cool, though. But they do have their own language. They did reference that.
Yeah. When I was a little girl, my mother hired a woman to iron her clothes. Back when people iron clothes, she was trying to help her out. And she said, here, why don't you take my clothes every week and iron them for me and bring them back. And we'd go pick them up. And she had twin little boys. And they were probably 2, maybe. I don't know when your baby starts saying things that you can't quite understand, but probably around 2. And they had their own language. And they called each other Aya. In my mind, it's I, the letter I, -YA, like I and you.
Mm-hmm.
And if one of them walked into the room and you were holding the other one, they'd go, Aya. And the other would say, hi, Aya. I thought that was interesting, like I and you kind of thing. This example that I read, they called each other our. Like, our are going outside to play together. Our wants to go to bed now. Our's hungry. OUR. So it's very interesting. But they also found that the younger siblings, or the older siblings, could understand what the twins were saying to each other when the adults
couldn't.
Mm-hmm. So would that mean that the twins really don't have a different language than other toddlers? It's just other babies can understand what they really mean when they say a word. I mean, do we have a whole other language when we're little that we grow out of that adults can't understand?
Right. Like with your imaginary friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm serious. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that's just one of these the things that we'll just not get. I mean, I don't think it can be explained. They just have their own language, and adults don't get it.
Yeah. There's actually a video, I'll put a link to the video, it's on YouTube, of 18-month twins that are talking to each other in this very elaborate language, a long conversation that you can't understand, but they're just like gesturing, and it's really cute. But it makes you wonder, if you want to get spiritual for a minute, the place that we come from as babies in the womb, did we have a language that, maybe it's a heavenly language, I don't know.
Could be. I mean, that's a great thing
Kinda
right
deep.
there.
Yeah. Just gives me chills. If you've ever seen two young siblings readily conversing in complete gibberish, that's what I would call it, gibberish. You likely witnessed, they have a word for it. It's another big long word, Tia. Hold my hand. I'm scared. Idioglossia.
Okay.
An autonomous language often created and shared between twins. According to research published in the Journal Institute of General Linguistics, about 40% of twins invent their own language. The researchers believe that super close siblings, they don't have to be twins, but usually are, sometimes use each other as models for learning vocabulary, applying meaning to sounds, even if those sounds are complete nonsense. Usually their special lingo disappears as their vocabulary expands and by the time they go to school, but not always. In the book Twin Connections, Stories that Celebrate the Mysterious Bond Behind Twins, the authors, who are identical twins, said, "We speak to each other in a language that no one else can understand, nor can we enlighten them. We didn't realize this until we were 6 or 7 years old." So that's a whole language. If you think about how language is invented and how people lived in close communities and came up with their own way to communicate, these two little kids are communicating, and then adults say, no, that's not the word for an apple. Apple's not a click glock. Apple is an apple. So you forget all that you learned. Ooh. Do twins start to bond in mom's belly? yes, they get a head start on the rest of us. Yeah. Researchers in Italy recently studied 3D ultrasound videos of 5 sets of twins in the womb. When the fetuses were just 14 weeks old, the researchers noticed that the pairs seemed to be reaching out for each other, touching head to head and arm to head. At 18 weeks, they were stroking each other more often and were in physical contact about 30% of the time. Even more phenomenal, the fetuses seemed to be extra gentle when touching around the eyes, like they knew that would hurt each other. Previous research has noted that twins appear to interact socially with each other just hours after birth. So they're aware, they know each other.
Right.
And don't you feel like twins, and this is generalizing because I don't know a lot of twins are either way into their twinness, almost to the point of everybody else is an outsider, and they still dress alike as adults and like to live together, or they're just totally like, I'm an independent person and I don't want to be thought of my twin.
One or the other?
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
feel like that.
Yes.
And there could be a twin yelling at me right now saying no. I mean, there's no way you and I could ever understand it unless we're in that body and that happens. There's just no way
Right.
what they go through, what they feel, and how they react to it. Now, if you just really wanted to have twins, Tia, it might be too late for us, but...
No, it's definitely too late for me.
Okay.
But thanks for asking.
There is a twin diet. If you want to have twins, stock up on cheese and start chugging milk. According to studies published in the Journal of Reproductive Medicine by Gary Steinman, MD, at Long Island Jewish Medical Center in New York, women who consume dairy products may increase their chances of conceiving twins. When Dr. Steinman looked at the twin birth rates of vegans who don't eat any animal products, including dairy, compared to non-vegans, he discovered that the latter group was 5 times more likely to have twins. In the British journal The Lancet, Steinman explains that the level of certain protein, it's like an insulin growth factor, it's 13 times higher in women who consume dairy than in vegans. This protein increases the ovary's sensitivity to follicle-stimulating hormone, which triggers ovulation. Now, as much cheese
As I eat,
you might break through.
No, I have no parts. I had a hysterectomy.
You might regrow ovaries with the amount of cheese you eat.
But, wow. I mean, I would have probably had 18 sets of twins. As much cheese as I eat.
Cheese babies.
Wow. That's crazy.
Is there a place in the world, Tia, you say, that has more twins than other places? I would say wherever they make cheese, wouldn't you? Like the Swiss Alps or something.
This Wisconsin. They're cheeseheads.
Good point. Apparently it's in Brazil. The small South American town of Candido Godoy, forgive me again, may just be the twin capital of the world.
Wow.
From 1959 to 2008, a whopping 8% of births in Sao Pedro resulted in twins. 8%. Okay. I think it's 3% everywhere else. So 8%.
That's crazy.
Do they eat cheese? Let's see why. Let's see if they say why. What's the reason behind so many doubles? For years, citizens believed that there must be something in the water. I've heard that before. There's something in the water. According to an article in the New York Times, but recent research by a team of Brazilian geneticists put that rumor to rest. After conducting a series of DNA tests, the researchers found that a hyperovulation gene that makes women more susceptible to conceiving twins runs rampant in the town due to whoopee with your relatives.
Wow. And the plot thickens.
Da-dum!
Da-dum.
They said inbreeding. I was trying to make it sound a little more...
Okay, but you went ahead and said it anyway. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Moving on. What about when twins are separated at birth? They don't even know that they were
I
twins.
think that they feel there's part of them missing always.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the whole nurture versus nature. Are they the same when they're raised in other environments by other people? Twins who get separated at birth receive a whole lot of attention from researchers because they do want to know, how much is of you, who you are, is in your genes and you can't control it, and how much it has to do with your environment. Because you just can't split twins up in the name of science, although I bet it's been done. I know it was done in a soap opera I watched. Very few studies have been able to track twins who live completely separate lives. However, there is a case of Meredith Grace Rittenhouse and Meredith Ellen Harrington. Why they're both named Meredith, I don't know if we're going to find out, but they were fraternal twins, sisters, born in China, but adopted by two different American families. The girls were adopted in 2003. Neither of the families knew their daughter was a twin. To me, they shouldn't do that. That's wrong.
Mm-mm.
According to an article by Newsweek, when Meredith Ellen was 2, she told her parents, "I'm so lonely. I wish I had a sister." So there you go, kind of your thing. At 3 years old, Meredith Grace was asked to complete the sentence, "When I grow up, I want to be," and she said, "a sister." A few years later, Meredith Grace's father was online looking at other parents who had adopted from the same agency, and he saw the young girl who looked uncannily like his daughter. And so they were able to reunite. So if that's true that they do connect in the womb, then obviously they're going to miss each other
Exactly.
after they're born. Okay, there's another big word, Tia, called epigenetic effects, which causes twins who are identical when they're born to start to diverge and change.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is their genes. You have all these genes in your body, and some turn on, some turn off. And one twin might have an autoimmune disease, or the other one does not. Or one twin might get cancer, and the other one does not. And that's because their genes are turning off and turning on in different ways. This could even be from when they were in the womb. One of them was able to get to the nutrition more than the other one.
Now, I have heard of that.
Have you?
Where twins push, to get the most food. And that's why some of them, you can have like a 6 pound and a 2 pound.
Yeah, it depends on where they're located.
Right.
And even the one that was formed first could be in the back and come out last. You know how you talk about which twin is older.
Right.
And if a sperm can fertilize an egg at a different time, if a baby was formed on a Wednesday, let's say, and the mother didn't even know it, a week later, her husband sperm forms another baby. There could be a week difference in their age or even
Right.
further apart, but they're going to be born at the same time because once one starts to come, the other one's going to come out. So that could
Exactly.
be why some are premature, where the other one looks big. But even as you grow up, you could look so much alike when you're a baby or when you're young, and then start to change. Someone's nose could get bigger than the other because your genes are turning off and turning on,
Oh, okay.
which I thought was kind of interesting. And that's called epigenetic effect. One twin got Alzheimer's and the other one did not in their late 70s. This can also have to do with how you take care of yourself, what environment you live in, what you eat as an adult. Even if you were raised in the same environment, one person may, not like their veggies like the other one did. Or maybe one worked in a plant and was exposed to chemicals. That's obviously going to affect your body as well. After digging up birth records of more than 60,000 women between 1800 and 1970, not digging them up, digging up records. I thought it said digging up
Thankfully.
60,000 women. The University of Utah researchers found that moms of twins tend to live longer than moms without twins. Now, is that because they had like a lot of healthy stimulation in their body and ovaries, or is it because, have you ever heard that babies are good for a mother? They help heal, like if she's having struggles while she's pregnant that she would have had even if she wasn't pregnant. Things come from the baby's body and rush out and try to fix like injuries or anything like that. Yeah, that's
I
true.
have not heard that.
I'll find an article about that and just include it in the show notes, but it's true. So if you had two fixing you up, and you also carry those cells in your body.
Fixing you up.
Fixing your boo-boos while they're in your body. And you also carry those cells. If you've ever been pregnant, you carry your baby cells for a long time. They become part of you. So twins would be doubly part of you. So in any case, whatever the reason, it is true that moms of twins live longer. There are more than just fraternal and identical twosomes. There are rare twins that are half identical twins. When the egg splits and then each half is fertilized, they become mirror image twins. So the egg splits before the sperm. Let me think about that again. And the egg splits, and then each half is ooh, okay. So the little egg's floating down, it splits for whatever reason, and then two different sperm go in those two eggs. You become mirror twins because you're the same egg. So mirror twins can actually, it's rare, but mirror twins sometimes have their organs on the opposite. Like one of them's heart will be on the left side, and the other one's heart will be on the right side, which I had never heard, that your whole organs insides could be flipped. So if you didn't know you were a twin, you were adopted, and they went in to do some kind of surgery. Like, wait a minute, why is this over here and this over here? Oh, it's crazy.
That's weird.
Do you think identical twins have the same fingerprints, Tia?
No.
You are 2 for 2, girl. You are correct. Did you just guess over because you watched the documentary?
Yeah.
You prepared for this show. You didn't even know you were preparing for it.
No.
So I've always thought that fingerprints are really magical. They're like God's identity, how he identifies you.
Exactly. Because, I mean, even identical twins, they're different.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care how much they look alike or whatever, because all of us are unique and different.
Yeah. So, I've always thought you could, like, if you had a twin, you could frame them for something by...
No, you can't. Okay.
But you can't.
Of course, you were going to the bad thing.
Well, no, like I say, I've watched a lot of Lifetime movies, and can be evil twins,
Okay,
you know.
You're going to have to get off the soap opera, so I'm just telling you.
But twins do not have identical fingerprints. Tia was correct. You've heard of twins reading each other's minds. One pair of conjoined twins shared a neural bridge, and they can read each other's minds, but that's a whole nother story, the conjoined twins. And I didn't really want to go there because it can be very complicated and dark, although there are ones who live lives. I mean, they thrive together and get married, and everything else is kind of hard to comprehend. But twins who are not sharing the same nervous system and neural system, they're not, according to this, they're not reading each other's minds. It's just because you have the same patterns, and if you grew up together, your minds kind of go to the same place. You're going to kind of...
I know, but you can have best friends that they can say something before it comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Or somebody can finish a sentence, that you were thinking, like, how did you do that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, since you watched the twin documentary, have you seen twins? They're asking them questions, and they both have the same, like, oh, yes. Or they'll say the same thing at the same time. It's just because their brains are formed the same way, and their experiences are the same. And they're really not reading each other's minds. According to this, if you believe in that kind of thing, maybe. I went to a twin chat room just to see. I thought, I want to see how twins feel about being a twin. You can read all these facts, but I'll just read this one. This girl said, she's 15 years old. Somebody said, what do twins not like about being identical twins? She said, we're always mixed up. No matter how many times I tell my teachers, my friends who I am, they can never remember our names. They have a tendency to combine our names like we're one entity. Her name is Gabby and her sister's name is Izzy, so they'll just say, we're going to call you Gizzy or Gabizzy or whatever, which could really mess with your individuality. Teachers think it's so funny to put us on opposite teams so they can watch us compete against each other. Even though it's good to always have a best friend, it gets quite annoying after a while. She's always there. No joke. Always. We spend every single second of every single day together and rarely have time to ourselves. People treat us as one person. And even though we look alike, it does not mean we are the same. Friends would invite both of it. Like a friend invite one over, they'd have to invite the other over. They would feel like we're a package. We're always compared to one another, whether it's our grades, our weight, our height, anything. They always try to see who is better. Being asked, are y'all twins? When it's so obvious we are, we always want to say, no, we don't even know each other. Sometimes people will touch me and ask my sister if she feels it. Treat them like they're a medical experiment or a freak show or something. That would be strange. Asking how they can tell us apart. Like, what's something different about you than your sister so I'll know? And she says, I don't know. Maybe you could just actually get to know us and tell us.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking the whole time you're reading those.
Really?
Yes.
Being asked over and over, what's it like to be a twin? Once or twice, okay, but over and over, a billion times, it gets old. Having the same friends when one of us meets someone, they find out we have a twin, and it's all over. It becomes the three of us together. When people say they wish they had a twin so they could look just like them and see how they look, or when they say they want a twin so they can do homework for them, that's not how this works. When you accidentally wear the same color shirt and people call you twinsies, they don't like twinsies. Since you pretty much know everything about each other, they know every little thing that bothers you, your twin can hold it against you because they know what's going to annoy the crap out of you. Sharing everything, whether it's clothes, rooms, toys, anything, it has to be shared. I mean, come on, we shared in our DNA. Is that not enough? I could go on and on and on. Now, I'll tell you that's not true for all twins that feel that way, but she's obviously having some, at 15, going through some identity. I mean, you think about, we both had sisters fairly close in age. Mine's like 3.5 years difference. What's yours?
5.5.
Yeah. You're competitive and you want the same thing. Do we get exactly the same thing? You bought her this toy, didn't buy it. You can imagine if it was twins, because I'm sure the parents feel like, well, we're going to get you one and you can share,
I just think that everybody has a desire and need to be an individual.
Right.
I mean, because they have to have their own identity. So I just think that that's just wrong for people to treat twins like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I've said all those things to the twins I went to school with.
Well, I'm glad I didn't know hardly any.
But going forward, we will not treat
No,
twins that way. We will be
absolutely not.
respectful of their individuality. So I think it's good, if you think about twins were not put here for us to experiment with, but it's
No.
very helpful for the causes of cancer, for one thing. It's a gift to be able, if twins are willing to do that, to be able to be studied and see what outside factors have influenced their health and things like that. It's very, again, I say it's a gift. For us singletons, that's what they call us, singletons. For us singletons.
I had no idea I was a singleton.
Yeah, you are a
but now I do.
I thought it was a simpleton, but I didn't know it was a singleton. All right, there is a kind of a fascinating story of twin Jims. The twin Jims, they were identical twins who blow all other identical twin stories out of the water. Jim Lewis and Jim Springer. Born in 1940, the boys were adopted by separate families in Ohio and grew up within 45 miles of each other. This is probably kind of like you were talking about in that documentary, stories like this. They were both named James by their adopted parents, both married twice, first to women named Linda and then to women named Betty. Both had children, including sons named James Allen. Both owned dogs named Toy, which is a strange dog name, isn't it?
Yes.
Toy. After reuniting in 1979, after 39 years of separation, the twins were recruited for a study, and the results of their tests were extraordinary. Their medical histories were identical, and the pair shared the same habits, including having woodworking wood shops in their garages, a fondness for Chevys, not Fords, and vacations on one particular beach in Florida.
Wow.
That is so wild.
That is super wild.
Okay, Tia, you love watching Entertainment Tonight and kind of, I know you're not obsessed with celebrities, but you kind of find that fun.
Yes, I do.
So I'm going to see if you knew these, okay? Just yes or
Okay.
no, and I'll believe you. No matter what you say, I'll believe you. If you knew these celebrities had a twin, Scarlett Johansson.
I did not.
She has a brother, and they are not identical. She's 5'3". He is 6'3". His name is Hunter. So I'm thinking that might be the case where maybe a sperm was penetrated an egg, and he was in there for a while, and then she was.
And he got the hot.
Yeah,
And she didn't.
He got to cook a little bit longer than she did. He has.
Is that basting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rotisserie.
Yeah, he was on the rotisserie a little longer.
Okay.
All right then.
There you go.
He has acted in the past. His name is Hunter, but he hasn't done a lot of entertainment projects. He's works in politics. He worked on President Obama's 2008 campaign. So that's very different. Then acting. Now look at this. Kiefer Sutherland. Did you know he had a sister?
I did know that.
Wow, look at it. I mean it. Look at that picture, is what I mean. That's amazing. It almost looks like him with a wig on in a way.
They do look really alike.
Yeah, I don't know if they would be considered one of those identical. Anyway, her name is Rachel Sutherland, and they're both in the entertainment industry. She's post-production. I mean, she's very pretty. Michael and Ashton Kutcher. I think most people know he's...
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah,
but, I mean, they're completely worlds apart.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as appearance-wise.
Mm-hmm. He does have a cerebral palsy and had a heart transplant when he was 13.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your case of genetic... What was it called? Where genes turn off and on and all that kind of stuff. The epizygotic or whatever. I don't remember the word, but... yeah, that's wild. That's where you feel like... I mean, what if he's ever asked himself, why me? You know,
Why me?
Why do I have this gorgeous brother who's successful and rich?
No, I was thinking about Ashton saying,
oh, yeah.
wonder why my brother and not me.
Okay.
You
That
know,
just tells the difference in our personalities.
Obviously.
Why am I not gorgeous and famous?
I know.
You're the better human, Tia. In any case, I think he's very good to him, and he brings up his
He is
illnesses
extremely good, and he actually has a foundation.
Okay, great. Yeah, so he probably does feel very fortunate. Tia and Tamara Mallory, I think we all know that because they had a television show together, Sister. They were very beautiful. Dylan and Cole Sprouse, they were the babies in Friends. They were Ross's son. You know, did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah. And, they use twins a lot in acting because they can only work like 3 or 4 hours.
Right. That's
At a
like
time.
Full House.
Yeah. Mary-Kate and Ashley. Yeah. So, now, to me, they look different.
Very.
They had the sweet life of Zach and Cody after they left Friends. And one of them still, I think it's Dylan, is still very active in acting. I think they both act, but Dylan is more present in acting. Angel and Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter, of course, passed away. Jason and Jeremy London. I'm familiar with Jeremy London as an actor, but they both act, though. And their weight is very different. Again, one of them might have cooked longer on that rotisserie, or maybe one just likes to eat more.
Maybe one, goes to Crystal a lot.
I've seen this actor, Aaron and Sean Ashmore. I'll include a link to this article. You guys can look at these pictures, but he looks familiar to me.
Yes, he does.
One of them's got hair. One of them's losing his hair. Mary-Kate and Ashley, we all know them. And I feel like they looked identical enough when they were little that we didn't know the difference, but now they...
Now they don't, but, I mean, when they were on that show, I mean, there's no way I would have been able to tell the difference.
Right. So that's, again, where those genes are turning off and on. I think we knew Jenna Bush and Barbara Bush. They look nothing alike. They're definitely fraternal. Barbara, of course, hosts, Jenna hosts the Today Show, co-hosts, and then Barbara is in philanthropy and human rights. Joel and Benji Madden are both in bands. One's married to Cameron Diaz. The other one is married to Nicole Richie. They're in Good Charlotte. Oh, they're both in Good Charlotte. I'm sorry. They're both in the same band. They look like mirror twins to me. See how that one's twin points to the right and one other points to the left. Again, we'll have photos for you to see. These are actresses Eva and Joy Green. I'm only familiar with Eva. Both beautiful, but they don't look alike. Marissa and Giovanni Ribisi, he was on Friends. Phoebe's brother. They don't look anything alike.
I don't remember Phoebe's brother.
Remember she had babies for him and his wife, which I did not like that storyline. She had multiple babies and gave them to him and the wife. And the wife was from that 70s show, wasn't she?
I don't know.
You don't remember that whole storyline? Really? I did not like it.
And I never missed an episode, but I don't know. Maybe it just didn't stick out to me.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but when people give babies away, it makes me sad. Rami and Sami Malek. Rami, I call him Rami, but it's Rami Malek. He's a very popular actor now.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. This one.
What does he do?
He is in Mr. Robot. He's in a lot of movies.
Oh.
He's kind of
If
unusual.
you're saying movie, then I'm not going to
Yeah, you may have seen him in a movie and just not. He's got the hat
talk
on.
about it.
Yeah. Now, to me, this brother's better looking, but he
Yes.
is a teacher in Los Angeles, so that's very different paths. Tiki and Rondé Barber, which I didn't know. They look exactly alike to me.
They do.
Wow, they're very attractive. They're football players. Let's see, let me read that, make sure. New York Giants running back while his brother was a cornerback. Okay. Parker Posey has a brother named Christopher Posey. He's a lawyer. She's an actress. Now, this one I did not know. John Heater from Napoleon Dynamite has a brother. And I think that one is Napoleon Dynamite. Are you familiar with that movie?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. But they're both in entertainment. He's a visual effects artist, his brother, John and Dan Heater. All right, and then Giselle. But I mean, look at her sisters. They're gorgeous. But look how tall she is compared to them.
Yes. Quite the difference, huh?
I would hate to have a supermodel big sister. I just would. Especially a twin. Not that my sister's not beautiful, but Nicholas Brendan and Kelly Donovan, they're both actors. They were in his brother played a stand-in for him sometimes. Now look at this one, Tia. This is going to blow you away. Vin Diesel and his brother.
Nothing alike.
I'm wondering on that one.
I'm wondering.
I won't go into what I'm wondering, but look at the picture and you'll know what I'm wondering.
Like two fathers?
You said it.
I did not. I didn't mean to. It just slipped out of my mouth.
All right, Charlotte and Samantha Ronson. A lot of people probably don't know who they are.
I don't.
She's a DJ. This is Samantha, and Charlotte is a fashion designer. But they look quite a bit alike. Both beautiful. Elvis Presley, I think we all know. He had a twin that was stillborn.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that have been wild to have?
Two Elvis Presleys.
I just can't imagine.
I don't think the world could have handled it. All that hip thrusting. Goodness gracious alive.
If they were mirror twins, they would have been. Never mind. It would have been vulgar. Let's just say that. It would have been vulgar. But I'm like you. I don't think the world could have handled two.
Nah.
And it makes me wonder if he even would have gotten into show business if that had happened.
Thankfully he did.
Yes,
I know
he
my
did.
husband is thankful.
Yeah. All right. So, Tia, what are your thoughts after... I mean, I didn't realize you had watched a documentary on twins. And I think that's a good way to learn. That's how I absorb things because I'm entertained, you know, too. And we try to do that here. We try to make fun. Not make fun. We try to have fun. Laugh about things. Say things in a weird way that you might can remember. We try not to be boring like science teachers or history teachers.
Right.
I'm grateful for teachers, but... So what has stuck with you? Have you learned anything today? Did anything stick with you?
Yes, I had no idea that a woman could get pregnant with two different fathers.
Yeah.
I mean, no clue on that one. Period.
Makes you wonder if they're out there and they don't know it, you know?
Right. And
I guess it doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter.
and now if I run into a set of twins, regardless of where I am not going to bring up anything that 15-year-old said.
Yes.
You know, just because how do you know it's not going to be offensive too?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's natural to, oh, you're a twin, to all those questions start popping in your brain, but they've heard them a million times. Maybe in time, if you get to know them, they'll just come out and say things. And like you say, get to know us, and then all your questions will be answered. It's just like a celebrity. You know, you walk up to a celebrity, you've seen a weird place. They've seen it a million times. It's the first time you've ever seen that celebrity. So you want to be like, I need that picture because I'm never going to see you again. But they've done it a million times. So
Right.
the same annoyance. So I'm with you on that too. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but that was like, yeah, that's my takeaway is to treat them like individual humans and not be so fascinated.
Yes, and I just think that they all do need to have their own individuality, period.
Yeah. And maybe listeners, after hearing this show, we've answered all your questions, and you don't have to ask the new twins you meet the same boring questions that make them feel like freaks
Right.
or one entity when they're not.
I think you should just get to know both of them,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah. Or just one. You know how they feel
Or
like.
just one.
Yeah. They'll introduce you to their twin
Just,
if they want
you
to.
know, just like the one you like the best.
Decide which one you like.
Let me see. Like you the best. And so you're not invited to the party.
I did want to bring up to you one really fascinating thing that, again, happens in movies and soap operas and probably in real life is babies getting mixed up once they're in the hospital. You know, they've got their little bracelets on.
Mm-hmm.
But when the parents take them home, they cut those little bracelets off. They get them mixed up. And would it really matter? Let's say it was Joe and Mo. If you called Joe Mo and Mo Joe when they were just little babies, you wouldn't want to feed them twice and not feed the other one. So sometimes they'll paint a toenail.
No, I think parents know.
Do you?
Yes. I don't care if there were no bracelets, period. I think a mother and a father know which is which. I really
I think
do.
a mother might, but I don't know about dad. I mean, dads are...
Maybe not as many dads, but I know a mother would know.
My dad used to think I was 9 years old when I was 12 years old. What are you going to be, 9 this year? No, Daddy,
That's
I
a
was
good
not.
thing.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, then he started aging me when I got older. So, yes, I think that's interesting. Sometimes they even put a little tattoo like on inside their toe, in between their toes, just a little dot.
Then they're just not real good parents.
Oh, Tia.
Well, I mean, you should know your children. Just saying.
All right.
I'll get hate messages, but that's beside the point.
All right, Tia, well, we better get out of here. I really enjoyed this episode, and I enjoyed your interest in your questions. You had some good questions. You knew a lot already, so I had fun with you today.
Well, I thank you for your research, and this was extremely interesting.
Well, thank you.
So thank you for teaching me so much today.
All right. You get a little gold star.
And I've been schooled today. Knowledge is power.
It is. And we hope you guys have enjoyed listening. We hope maybe you'll look at, if you meet a new twin, you'll look at it differently. If there are twins in your life, you'll look at it differently. If you are a twin, we'd love to hear from you and tell us where we screwed up, where we were right, where we were wrong. Give us some more information. We'd love to share it.
Absolutely.
All right. We love you guys. I love you, Tia.
Love you.
I'll see you Sunday on Giggles and Gratitude. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We would love to hear from you.
Leave your questions or comments on our voicemail by visiting our website at denaandtia.com. Your message may be played on the show.
You can find our Instagram and Facebook links there too.
Again, that's denaandtia.com. Thanks
Thanks
for
for
listening.
listening.